So we're getting this insulated here in the next couple days. So I'm finishing up the electrical. So we're going to spray foam the inside of this wall, and then build another wall on the inside of cordwood. So we have a 4-inch gap, which I wish I would have went 5 inches, but I didn't because the problem is that some logs are longer than others, even though you're trying to get them all 8 inches in my case, but you'll have one that sticks out further. So when you spray foam it, they told me that they would like to do 3 inches. But if I do 3 inches, being a 4-inch gap, it's not actually 4 inches everywhere. So when I go to do the inside wall, what I don't want to happen is for the larger logs to butt into the spray foam and sit and cut all the spray foam the entire house, spending all that time and removing what I've purchased, which spray foam is very expensive. So I'm only going to spray 2 inches, which doesn't seem like a lot, but spray foam performs a lot better than bats of insulation. And also with the thermal mass on the inside and heating the house with a masonry heater, I don't foresee there being a problem. I think this is going to be very tight and be well insulated, even though that we're only going to do 2 inches. But back to the electrical. So I could probably run Romex. I would have to check on that. I don't know. But I wanted to be able to change out the wires, or if anything goes wrong, I wanted to be able to get the wires out and put new ones in or whatever. So I opted to run raceways, and I used EMT, which is electric metallic tubing. So it's the thin-walled raceways. Now, I'm a master electrician, but don't look at my work right here because this is my own house, and I know the inspector, he's very easygoing. So there's a couple things that if another electrician sees this, he's going to know right off that there's things wrong, meaning the strapping. The strapping isn't done to code, and I don't care. Like I said, I've been doing this like 25 years. Once this gets spray foamed, this pipe ain't moving. So I've done minimal on strapping. But anyway, you can see that, let's say I have an outlet here and I need to get wires from this box to this box. But what I'm trying to accomplish is running the least amount of raceways as possible. This raceway comes up, and then I can put a junction box here and then run Romex to the junction box and only run the necessary wires down. I can't run Romex inside that pipe. I have to switch to individual wires, which is THHN. And because I am doing that, I can run only the necessary wires I need. Romex is always like 3-wire. So we call it, let's say 14-2, but there's actually 3 wires in it. There's a ground, which they don't count when they say 14-2. So let's say like 14-3 actually has 4 wires. There's a ground wire, which is right at the very bottom, and then 3 current carrying conductors. So they only count the current carrying conductors, the black, the white, the red. But there's also a bare wire in there. So I can put a junction box, and then I only have to use the necessary wires to come down to this. I ran 1/2 inch because I don't need that many wires in this box. This box is only going to switch spotlights outside and my barn light. So I only need 2 wires for those loops or switch legs, one for the outside lights and one for the barn light. I only need 1 neutral coming in here, and I only need 1 ground wire coming in here. And then if I have, let's say, a separate power to this outlet, which in this case I won't, I'll just come off of the power for, I'm bringing in here for the lights, because I need to bring 1 power in for the lights, and then 2 wires coming out to the lights themselves, 1 for the spotlight and 1 for the barn light. I can use that same power that brought in to jump down and go to this outlet. I also have a neutral in here and a ground, and I can bring both those down that pipe to that. So it's kind of hard to explain to somebody who doesn't do this every day, but I've ran the least amount of raceways possible to get accomplish what I need. So I ran EMT and bent it And then I came 90 out of the boxes because now I can put my logs in here and it won't interfere with the conduit instead of coming out of here. And let's say going straight up. Then I would have a problem with the logs hitting that. I would have to use larger mortar joints because the conduit would be in the way of the log passing through. Excuse me. So that's why I came out the back. I wanted to get back and tight to that, and then they'll spray foam. It'll be completely encased and won't interfere with my next course of cordwood. Up above this beam, you know, I can stick it out farther because there's going to be no wood in that area. Okay, so then free floating one of the boxes, you know, I attached some to posts, and then I have my keyway, and then this is recessed quite a bit because eventually that's going to have what you call a mud ring on it. And if we go over here, I'll show you what I mean. So this is a mud ring. And now what's going to happen is I'll have a nice thick amount of mortar around this, and this portion will be flush with the log or that beam. And I got the largest mud ring they make because I wanted the most mortar there. If I got a shallower mud ring, there wouldn't be much mortar. It would be more apt to break and crumble off later on. That's why I use the deep mud ring. I didn't, that wire is an outside outlet, so I just mortared a box and jumped that wire long enough to get to an inside outlet with Romex. That's Romex. The wires run in here, which they will be THHN, and they'll be single wires. You'll have to get like different colors: white, black, red, green, and those will come on spools, usually 500 feet. So back to here. This is going to be my kitchen. So I'll have a sink here, and within 2 feet of the edge of that sink, I need an outlet. And then within 4 feet of that outlet, I need another outlet. And then let's say my countertops will break here. Within 2 feet of the edge of that countertop, I need an outlet. So this serves 4 feet from this outlet and 2 feet from any break in your cabinets. So the sink counts as a break. The edge of the cabinet counts as a break. Those are all codes. So this will be my dishwasher outlet, and we're not going to have a disposal, but that could be my disposal. That'll be under the sink, so the dishwasher will sit here, go through the cabinet, the cord, and then plug into that, and that has to be GFI'd now. But anyway, I'll bring power to a junction box that I'll mount to there, and then it'll sit right on that truss. This is all getting spray foamed, so this will be a void that I can get to. That's why I'm not wiring it now. If it was going to be conventionally insulated with poly and then blow in, I would have to have all this done. But like I said, we're spray foaming, so I don't have to do it right now. So that'll have a junction box, and I'll run Romex into that junction box, and then those wires will attach to THHN wires, and then I can then bring down only what I need to these boxes. So in this case, I'm going to run 2 kitchen circuits. In everybody's kitchen, you're required to have 2 20 amp small appliance branch circuits is what they are. It's 2 dedicated circuits that go to the panel, and they have to be 20 amp. You can split those any way you want. Let's say you had 6 outlets. That one could have, let's say, the A circuit, and then the rest could all be B, but you need 2. So I'm going to have a separate circuit here, and then I'm also going to run, let's call that A, and that'll be a small appliance circuit. It'll run through, pass through this box and go to here, and that'll be A2, but then I'll also have a B that goes through this stuff unbroken all the way to here. So this box will have a separate circuit than this box. So if you had a coffee maker going and a toaster, let's say, and if you plugged something else in, it would trip that breaker. Let's say you had a crock pot and you plugged it in, it would trip A circuit. But now you have a B over here, so you can plug the crock pot into there, and then you won't have a tripping problem because the crock pot will be separated from the toaster and the coffee maker. They'll be on different breakers, different circuits. So that's what I'm going to do here. Also, I'm going to bring down a dishwasher circuit, totally separate circuit. So then the dishwasher can run and it's completely independent from them, which is also a code. In this case, you can't have a dishwasher on the same circuit as the small appliance circuits. Small appliance circuits are for toasters, coffee makers, anything that goes on the countertop. You can even have a microwave on it, but a lot of times people run a separate circuit to a microwave, which is a good idea. So we're gonna have a microwave here, stove will be below it, and then I'll have a separate circuit for that. And then also this countertop is part of the kitchen, so it needs to be on with those. It doesn't need to be on with those other circuits, but the same rule applies. So I need 2 circuits in this kitchen. Let's call it A and B. So I could have A here or B. In my case, I'm going to run a totally separate circuit, and I'm going to have 3 circuits. So A will be over there, C will be over here. So I never run into a problem. And it's so close to the panel, it's not going to cost very much money to run that extra circuit. And then I don't ever have to worry about a problem with power in the kitchen. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have to worry about a problem in the kitchen anyway with 2 circuits. But anyway, that's a little bit about code, but that's why I did that. And then in the living room, I will have another pipe that comes out of here, a larger pipe, because it's going to carry more wires in it, because I have 4 things switched here and also the living room outlets. And I'm separating the lighting circuit from the outlet circuit. And I like to do that because sometimes you plug into a vacuum, and a vacuum takes like 12 amps, and you have this, let's say on a 15 amp circuit, and you have lights on with that circuit. You plug in the vacuum and turn it on, there will be a surge of power and your lights will dim for a second. And a lot of people find that that's a problem. It's not actually a problem, it's no big deal, but it's annoying. So that's why in houses, when I wire them, I always separate the outlets from the lights, and so I'm gonna do it in my house. But anyway, that 3/4 inch pipe, because it needs to be a bigger pipe because it's carrying more wires, comes up here and pops out there. And I'll actually put a larger box on that, a 4 and 11 box is what it's called, and instead of a 4 square box. So it'll be even bigger than that box to accept the amount of Romexes coming in and THHNs coming out. I'll have more room to work in a larger box. So that conduit comes down 3/4 inch and then switches to 1/2 inch, because I don't need that many wires going to my outlet there, and I mounted an outlet pretty much on all the posts. And it actually worked out well, because I'll have a couch here and you'll be able to get to the corner. You know, I didn't want to put, let's say, a couch here and then the plug in behind the couch would be hard to access. So I put them on the edges of my furniture. And in this case, it's a little bit different on the code. So in the kitchen, that's at 2 foot, 4 foot rule. In habitable spaces like living rooms and bedrooms, it's a 6-12 rule. So within 6 feet of this doorway edge, I need an outlet. Well, I put it real close, okay? But within 12 feet, now that that's there, within 12 feet, I need another outlet, which that one is within 12 feet of that outlet. Now, if I stretch this out to 6 feet, which is okay, I would need one within 12 feet of that. So then I could stretch this. I wouldn't need that there. I could stretch it out to there if it worked out, but if I needed to. But I can always add more, okay? So within 12 feet of that outlet now, I need another outlet. And what that does is you have a lamp, let's say, with a 6-foot cord. Anywhere on this wall space, you can put that lamp and plug it in. That cord will reach, because they're usually a 6-foot cord. So when you have to measure, you can't measure like diagonally. It's got to be the wall length that you measure. Let's say there was a fireplace here. That'd be a break in the wall. So within 6 feet of the edge of the fireplace, I would need an outlet. Here's the fireplace. Within 6 feet. On this side, within 6 feet. Then from that outlet, within 12 feet, I would need one. So that's another little code or whatever. But anyhow, I got all my EMT ran. Now you could also use ENT, which is electric non-metallic tubing. That's usually blue. We call it Smurf tube, and it comes in different sizes. And that's flexible. You could use that too. It'd be easier to work with for the novice, but I wasn't sure if and I didn't want to check. I was just going to run metal conduit for me, because I know how to bend this stuff. but I didn't know if the spray foam would interact with that plastic. Plus, it's going to be a little bit harder to run the wires than this. This is nice and smooth and rigid, so it'll pass right through. Of course, if you had the plastic tubing and it was foamed in, that would be rigid also. But it's like corrugated, so there would be a little bit more screwing around, pushing the wires through. Now, bending this stuff isn't that hard. You need pipe benders. So there's a 3/4 inch pipe bender, and then you would need a 1/2 inch pipe bender. For the different size pipes, that's 3/4. This is 1/2 inch. And it's pretty easy. I'll show you real quick. So 3/4 inch pipe bender, 3/4 inch pipe. You put the pipe bender in the pipe like this, drop it down, and it's simple to bend it. This is called a shoe. You put your shoe on it and you push down on your foot and the pipe to get a 90. And you just guesstimate that's pretty close to the 90. There's your bent pipe. So if you wanted to go from here, let's say 4 feet, and bend another bend, you would measure from here, put it on something flat, measure from here along the pipe 4 feet, and then 3/4 inch, you back off 6 inches. So you measure over, you make a mark at 4 feet, you subtract 6 inches, you make another mark. Then you put this part of the pipe bender on your line, the second line, the subtracted 6 inch line, and cover with the shoe of the bender your first line. That's how you know which way to turn it. And then you can make that bend, and it'll be that bend will end up exactly 4 feet. Pretty close anyway. And that's how you do these bends. That's how you measure it out and bend. Now, 1/2 inch, you only subtract 5 inches to get that. It's the take up of the pipe is what happens. So, probably sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. So if you were to buy those benders, you could probably handle it yourself. You might have to have some cuts and put some couplings in there to shorten a pipe or lengthen it because you misbent it. But it really isn't that hard, and you're going to save yourself a ton of money. I'm sure you could YouTube a video on it too. But anyway, I haven't bent pipe very often anymore, so I'm a little rusty at it. But you know, you don't have to be fancy because it's all getting hidden. So if it was exposed, you'd have to be fancy. But this is all going to be spray foam, so it just needs to get done. So anyway, I got all my EMT in for all my wiring on the outside walls. On the inside walls, I can do after they insulate. So I just wanted to show that real quick. Up here, I just had to get the exterior walls, so I ran my wire to the first outlet. Again, this is all getting spray foam. This isn't going to be conventionally insulated. So I just need to get to this box, because then once they're done insulating, I can access this and keep going with my wiring. So I just needed to get to these outside areas. And then I left myself a tail here to get to an outlet that I'll frame on this wall. So I just wanted to show that real quick, what I ended up doing as an electrician to my Cordwood house to wire the outside walls. Now this is a double wall Cordwood home, so in a single wall type, you'd have to do something different. You wouldn't do this EMT thing because you know, you can't run EMT through this stuff, because this would all be, you know, one piece. So then you'd have to do a different way. You'd have to use that ENT, which is flexible, and then you would have a raceway that you could pull wires through in and out if anything went wrong, or check your local inspector and see if you can run Romex through it, or possibly even underground UF type Romex too, that has a thicker coating. Might be the better way to do a single wall Cordwood house. But for double wall, I found this is the way I went, because then I can change stuff out if need be or fix anything. If something were to happen to a wire during the cordwooding process, you know, and it broke or something happened, you skinned something, you didn't know it, and then the wall's dry, how would you ever, you know, get to that? So that's why I put raceways in.